Thank you very much. I must congratulate all the three speakers of their great presentation on subject which raises lots of thoughts in our minds. As a very small person in this field of knowledge, I could only add few words which will be perhaps giving a direction to some of us that in my 25 to 30 years career dealing with Buddhist subjects in different parts of the world, I have found that we, the Indians, are very much lacking in the knowledge of Buddhism. We have only 5 to 9 people who have learned and read entire Tripitaka, only 8 or 9. And this is a very small number. The mention of Brahman coming around 500 plus times in Buddhist texts has not been thought of. Why and which references are there? The mention of Indra 1200 plus times. Brahma is the first one numbered in the list of the gods being talked about by Buddha himself. Many there are similar thoughts. We have to study that in proper context. You see, when we talk about some sutras, and we always forget the Pali, the rendering in Pali which we have, the Tripitaka, known as Tripitaka, is not the actual word of Buddha himself. So when Romila and Sheldon type of people claim that, see, look, they did not use the word dharma in Ashokan context. They use dhamma because they want to be running away from the corrupt system of Hindu system of life. They completely forget the word of language the Buddha was speaking was Magadhi. And in Magadhi there is no dhamma. If dharma is making dhamma in Pali, it is not in Magadhi. That was the language of Buddha who was speaking all the time. That became dharma in Pali, in Magadhi also. So there are certain misnomers which we have to challenge by reading the Buddhist text. And most importantly, Pali texts are being targeted by the people because they found some slokas or here or whatever and they quote it without knowing Pali. I have spent 20 years learning Pali, still I am zero. I think that way. Because it is a big ocean. We have to create a force, an army who can learn Pali literature in fullest context. Of course, we have Sanskrit texts in Mahayanic tradition. Hundreds of us can read very well, can interpret very well, connecting with the Vedic philosophy, Upanishadic philosophy and everything. But in Buddhist sector, we are very much lacking and lagging behind knowing about those backgrounds. Coming to Professor Nagaswami's presentation, when he talks about Hinduism is Buddhism, Buddhism is Hinduism, we have to see how it is working in those countries, in South Asia especially. And to say that these are the languages of sadness is completely wrong. In Japan, is a subject of happiness. When you enter those kind of dates, they have 15 to 16 dates for Buddhist holy days, which are very celebration for them. Of course, in the beginning, you talk about that Hinduism as certain kind of element where Buddhism is talking about dukkha and sara dukkha and problem and life and all. No doubt about that. Buddha talks about those sorrows. But behind those sorrows, what the experience of people in those areas where Buddhism is working at the moment. Like, for example, he's talking about Cambodia and Thailand. The king is Rama 10 today. Rama 9, Rama now 10. Why they have this Rama concept? That has to be seen. From the Ayutthaya dynasty, which is 1700 plus, 300 years ago, how they have taken. There are 15 Brahmanas in the court of Ayutthaya in 1640s. And they talk about, without Rama you cannot run a government. So these are the concepts which we can understand very, very well when we handle material in Buddhism properly. That is very important to us, for us to know and learn about that. And then we talk about the issue of Buddhism in a special case of the Sthaviravada, which we call Theravada, and in old presentation we used to call Hinayana, because without knowing Hina is not the only word. Hina means going down. Hina also means less number. But when we talk about Mahayana, Hinayana, we put it like a very heen situation, like when you are very looked down upon. But there are many words, as we have seen in many words of Sanskrit and Pali, there are many words of the same word. So similarly, when we go into Theravada, we talk about that. They talk about puritical sense, pure, no need to have any kind of interpretation. What Buddha says, follow that. And in that system, you don't have any permission, so-called permission, to establish any imagery of any Buddha or anything. But you see, the most beautiful imagery of Buddha is found only in Theravada countries, in Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Sri Lanka included, and Burma also included in that. So the concept of understanding Buddhism, whether it is a part of Hinduism or not, that can be a subject, because they have been also taught in these countries in Southeast Asia for last 200 years, the French translation where they try to disintegrate, separate. So those attempts have been going on, breaking those countries for last so many years. Those areas also need to be mended together. This is an area and subject we can handle much better than many other countries. That's why Professor Nagaswamy has also gone into the reinterpretation of many inscriptions of Sanskrit, because those who have translated, those are no more knowing about the details what Hinduism stands for. Like when you talk about Saugata, nobody knows that Sugata is another name of Buddha. And Saugata Dharma mentioned there is the man who brings a Sugati. That's why he is Saugata. These explanations have to be understood, because in Buddhist temple they talk about donation of 5 milching cows in a Cambodian small temple of a 9th-11th century inscription is very challenging to them. These things need to be brought out and shown to these people. They call themselves Ramila, they call them children, they call in many other names. So these are to be understood in the way. I can humbly request all of us to be here understanding that we do need to create a great school tradition for learning that. And I'm very, very grateful to Dr. Joshi, Sonil and Professor Nagaswamy, who have been very, very well in knowing and leading us. Thank you so much.
To help me, you can do two things. You can go to the subscribe button on my YouTube and subscribe. We need more subscribers there. Secondly, I get lots of emails on people saying, how do we donate? How can we help you? You go to rajivmalhotra.com or you go to infinityfoundation.com and you can hit the donate button. You can donate in dollars. There are different ways mentioned. If you want to donate in rupees, there is a column called Infinity Foundation India, and you click that and there are instructions on how you can donate in India.